It's been quite a surprising last week or so for me. As regular viewers will know, last week I said that the Exodite might not get an episode this week. It was nothing more than a gut feeling, but you know what? I was absolutely right. It's not got an episode, and there isn't that much else on Warhammer Plus this week. The chance to follow up on what was a pretty decent show in the Exodite last week has been totally missed. I think that with the 3-week gap, GW had to release something last week so it wasn't a 4-week or a 5-week gap between animations, but I just hope there's not going to be 3 weeks between the first Exodite and the second one. People in the comments quite rightly regularly point out that a lot of the value for Warhammer Plus comes from the vouchers, the competitions and the model at the end of the year, but I'm here for one thing and one thing only, and that's the animations. It was pretty cruel to put out the Exodite last week and then pull the rug from right under our feet and pour cold water all over our excitement. The visuals last week were stunning, so I think that's part of my disappointment because I really was excited for another episode and I want to see the promise for this series be fulfilled. I suppose it's better to get the first episode and then a break rather than 5 or 6 weeks without anything, although that might be the Stockholm Syndrome talking. But Simon, you said there was a surprise, and that isn't surprising, I'm hearing you say. Well, the surprise is that a member of the Warhammer community team messaged me last week just after the video had dropped. Now, I thought I was going to get told to stop making the videos because, you know, GW have got this bad reputation among a lot of people, but it was nothing like that. The Warhammer community representative actually said he enjoyed watching my videos, he even liked the graphs, believe it or not, and he really hoped my channel would grow. He also said he liked the fact that I was fair and balanced, so it was a pretty great message to receive. It was a big boost. He did also say that if we bear with them, then they will fix some, not all, but some of the issues that we've all been having with Warhammer Plus. Obviously, he didn't specify which ones because he really couldn't, because then they'd be held to that and it would become a big thing. But the fact that he reached out in the first place was amazing to me. I mean, my channel is very, very small. I'm not a big personality. So the fact that they took the time to message even a small channel like mine was pretty great in my opinion. Warhammer customer service has always been a really good part of the business, and I think that's reflected in their community team as well. The easiest thing for them to do in this situation would be to completely ignore a channel of my size, but they didn't do that. They reached out, and I do really appreciate the gesture. So let's hear your thoughts and ideas. They've probably heard a lot of them before, but it would be really great to put a list together and fire them off to them and see what happens. What can be the harm in it anyway? I know what you're probably thinking, that I'm going to give GW an easy ride of it because they were kind enough to reach out to me, and that is not going to happen. As they say, the proof is in the pudding, talk is cheap, and they'll have to be good to their word. And I won't be impressed if all these improvements start to come around when it's resub time either, because we'd be on to you. I'm still going to call it as I see it, and I'll start off by saying I'm obviously very annoyed that we didn't get another animation this week, because it's really difficult to get your teeth into a new series when it's stop-start, and we don't have a new one each week. One of the great things about Angels of Death was that it came in 2 sets of 5, so we got the first 5 episodes, and then a break, and then the next 5 episodes. And the only reason the break worked at all was because we'd already got to know all the characters and their storylines through the first 5 episodes, week after week after week. So I accepted the mid-season break as a matter of course. It was fine, and I was really excited for the second half of the season to come. And I don't think that'll happen if we get the Exodite totally piecemeal, like an episode here or there. So I really hope that doesn't happen. Who knows, maybe we'll get a run of 9 episodes in a row starting from next week. Oh, that was a flying pig. Let's be realistic, that's just not going to happen. Right, on to the reviews of what we did get, and we'll start off with Warhammer Vault as always. We get the Aeronautica Imperialis Forge World game rulebook, which is a bit ironic because all the rules have been stripped out. But don't worry, that still leaves 126 pages of background, lore, fluff, images, all that kind of thing. It's a really interesting read because I've been dipping my toe into tiny planes recently, and it's a lot of fun. So this one's interesting for me. There are also 3 white dwarves, which seems to be the norm now, down from 4, and there's one with a Dreadfleet cover which caught my eye because I don't know much about that game, so I'll have a wee read of that as well. Loremasters this week was about Tau casts, and it was in the usual format, with Wade Price talking over animations and pictures of the Tau. If they start doing loads of these for each race, and break each race down into small chunks and more interesting in-depth stories, then it'll be absolutely fantastic in the end. They're getting better at coordinating these with miniature releases, and a cynical person would say that these are just marketing tools, but I think they're pretty decent. I think they add a lot, and if it gets you excited for a model, who cares? The hobby's about getting excited about stuff, and if you let the marketing get to you and you want to go and buy a model, so be it. Go and enjoy yourself. There were a few graphics and things that made me unintentionally laugh though. It was like a space background and there was a spaceship or a space station and it was kind of spinning around. And it honestly looked like something I would put in one of my videos. It was not in keeping with the style of the rest of the video and it was quite jarring. On the other hand, they'd integrated a lot of Exodite footage which looked absolutely fantastic within the realms of Loremasters. So that was kind of a glimpse into the future. The more series they get, the more footage they get of different stuff, then I think the more still images will be replaced by animations in the whole Games Workshop website, community site, all that kind of thing. And that's quite an exciting future. Speaking of coordination, this week's masterclass was all about Eldar Crystal Blades, and it ties in perfectly with the release of the Wave 2 Eldar stuff this weekend, or at least the pre-orders this weekend. It was excellent, I really enjoyed this one. It was a bit short at 13 minutes, but there was a lot of glazing and advanced techniques and colour combinations that I hadn't thought of, so it's got my mind racing a wee bit. Obviously I'm buying the Eldar as well, so this will come in handy. It would also be useful for any power swords or power blades in your Space Marine army, so a really useful tutorial all in all. So that's it, another light week clocking in at a paltry 31 minutes. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about the Exodite not being back. Let me know about anything else you want to chat about in this week's video. If you enjoyed it, please consider leaving a like or even subscribing, it really helps the channel out. So once again, thanks for watching, happy hobbying, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.